Okay, so as a reminder, this is an extra credit lecture. Feel free to skip it if you don't think that you'll need lists on your site. Now, you could make a list using the tools you already have. You could make each new item in the list a paragraph. If you wanted a numbered list, you could add the numbers in yourself at the beginning of each paragraph. If you wanted a bulleted list, you could find the HTML entity code for a bullet point, and you could add those in as well. This could work, but it's labor-intensive and not a very elegant approach. Fortunately, HTML has code for lists built into it, and here's how you do it. So first we have to decide whether we want a bulleted list or a numbered list. In HTML, a bulleted list is referred to as an unordered list. In other words, the order of items in the list isn't very important. And HTML calls a numbered list an ordered list. The order in which the various points are listed may in fact be significant, so we add numbers to show that. So I'm going over to, instead of our home page for our site, our Just In page instead. This is the page where we list some of the records that have just arrived in our record store, and we want to let people know that they're available. And we've placed those items using just paragraphs. And again, I could, if I wanted to, go into this first paragraph and I could type number 1, and I could go into the second paragraph and type number 2, and so forth, save that change and show you. Totally works. But then what happens when I get 3 new ones that come in? Maybe I want the 3 new ones to be numbers 1, 2, and 3. So I put them in, I put in the numbers, and then this has to become, oh, this is now number 4, and this is number 5, and so forth. Well, that's far more complicated than what we need to do if instead we take these paragraphs and make them into a list. So let's first make them into an unordered list. That's the easier one to do. And we start that first by this tag right here, UL, for unordered list. We put that at the very beginning of our list, and then we come down to the end of our list, and we put the end tag, /UL, just like that. So now, in HTML's mind, everything here is part of an unordered list. Then, instead of paragraphs within that list, we're going to have what HTML calls list items. And the tag for that is li for list item. And we'll put our start tag and our end tag for each of these, li /li. This is, by the way, one of the tags in HTML where you can get away with omitting the end tag, and usually browsers will do a pretty good job of displaying things correctly anyway. But as you know by now in this course, I'm a fan of putting in those end tags even when they're not absolutely necessary. I think it keeps your code clean and it keeps your thinking clean as well. So we now have an li tag, start and end, for each of these items in our list. And all of the items are wrapped within a UL, or unordered list tag. And I've just noticed one thing. This first line here, this actually isn't a list item. So actually, I'm going to leave that as a paragraph, and I'm going to take it outside of my unordered list section. So this is just to actually introduce the list, so we can style that as a paragraph. There's other ways we could style it, but that'll work fine. And now we have in here only items that are list items as part of our unordered list. So let's save all those changes. We'll go back to our page and reload. And now you can see that the browser has automatically done some formatting changes to these items based on the understanding that this is an unordered list. It's placed a bullet point at the beginning of each of our items. It's also chosen to indent each item a little bit from the left-hand side. This is default behavior. When you start working with CSS, you can do anything you want with these default behaviors. You can change what symbol is used for the bullet point. You can decide not to have any indentation. You can decide to have more indentation. Lots of options. But just because we've told the browser that this is in fact a list, it's already applied some formatting to make that clear in the structure. Great. So that's an unordered list. Now let's make it an ordered list instead. If we've decided that the order of these items is not arbitrary, maybe number 1 is always the very most recent item that has come in. Well, the great thing here is that we only have to change two things. We have to change this start tag and then the end tag as well. Now instead of a UL, or unordered list, it's going to be an OL tag, or ordered list. And then we come down and change the end tag to say the very same. So the list items remain just as they are. They're just list items. And it's this tag here that is saying these are not bullet items, these are in fact numbered items. So we'll save that change, we'll come back to the page, we'll reload, and now you can see that these items have been numbered rather than bulleted. Everything else has remained the same. The great thing here is if I add new items or if I change the order of items, I don't have to go in and put in new numbers. So if I take this last one and I make it first, save the change, Unchained Melody will now be the top, and Unchained Melody, because it comes first, is automatically number 1. We don't have to go in and see that, oh, now it says 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have to go change that. No, the browser handles that for us because it's been told that this is an ordered list. Going to reverse that change, put it back at the bottom, save the change, and there we go again. So all of this is handled automatically for us by the browser, nice and easy. We just have to say this whole thing is an ordered list, and then each of these things is an item within that list. So that's lists. Give it a try, and then I'll see you in the next lecture.